You don't take seltzer water to move molecules places. Right? You need water, just water. Just water. Just water.
So we're yelling at you guys.
Yeah. Just water.
So just spend a couple days. You don't have to record everything, but the more you can record, the better. Just be aware. Like, so whenever I have a bottle of water, what I normally do is just put like a little X or a dash on the cap, so I have an idea of how much water you're drinking. And then just see where you're at, and then start working your way up to that. And I guarantee you, before you even start talking about protein, carb, and fats, then you're going to start feeling better just by taking in more water.
And also, you don't want to take it in all at one time either.
No.
You see people with like gallons of water, like chugging it all at once.
Exactly.
It's not meant to do that. You want to drink your water throughout your day. You know,
exactly.
Not in like one sitting, like chugging your water, and you're like, oh, well, I just got my 8 cups for the day. You're good.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Exactly. A good practice to get into is after you wake up, 8 ounces of room temperature water in the morning. And yes, that's before your coffee, and yes, that's before your breakfast, and that's before anything else. 8 ounces. You can put a little bit of lemon or lime or whatever in there to detoxify a little bit. But 8 ounces room temperature water. And yes, don't take it all at once. Be strategic on it. So if you want, you can put a reminder. Some of my clients put a reminder in their phones every couple hours, because as you get busy, it is something that you can easily forget. And you're like, oh man, it's already 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I only have one bottle of water. So what I would suggest, based on what time you work out, to kind of front load the morning. So I front load the morning, and then I peel off during the day, right? So I don't want to take in all my water at night, because I'm going to be up peeing, and that does happen if you're just trying to get all your water in. Your requirements don't make it something that you're stressed out about. You're like, all right, I have to get exactly whatever it is. Just be aware that we probably, for the most part, have to drink more water. Front load that in the morning, and then start kind of backing off towards night, so you're not up all night peeing. And also, if you guys are frequent peers during the night, sometimes that isn't a water issue. It can be a cortisol or blood sugar dismanagement. So you actually wake up based on your blood sugars, and then you have to pee. You don't wake up because you have to pee. That makes sense?
Interesting.
Quality sleep, not like this guy's known. So if you guys ever read a book called Catching Fire, I'm not Catching Fire, sorry, it's called Lights Out, and it basically says, as us in the country, Americans, working more, getting paid less, being more stressed out, eating like crap, but most importantly, just sleeping less. So the best thing we can do for that is find a consistent routine within sleep, and know that these things here are going to set up good for nutrition. Even if you eat like crap and you have these 2 things down, you're going to feel much better. Right? So a good consistent pattern every single day. That includes Friday and Saturday too. Right? So I know I'm really dialed into my sleep patterns. I'm sure Katie is too. So it's like 9:30, and I'm just like, I start like dozing off, and I'm like 9:35, 9:38, like I'm just out, and I go to bed. In your bedroom, that should be the only place that you actually sleep. So try not to do any work or hang out too long during the day in your bedroom. Your bedroom should be a time for you to sleep. Which also means cell phones off, or on airplane mode, or silent, right? Because I know all of us do that. No TV in the room, so no light.
And quality of sleep also has to do with your nutrients as well. A lot of people I work with, sleep is a big one for them. They're restless sleepers. They don't sleep very well throughout the night. And then shortly in, like I'm talking like 48 hours in, of just changing and tweaking certain things that they're doing, the first thing they tell me is, I have more energy and I'm sleeping much better. So what you eat is really a determination of how you're going to sleep as well. It's just how your body functions. It's what's going on inside. It's your engine inside that's breaking down as you sleep. It's working as you sleep. So if you're eating not so great and you're waking up, and it has a lot of that has to do with what you're eating, a lot of your nutrition.
I'll go in a little bit more detail on that. There's a circadian rhythm based on the sun and the moon that your body should follow a natural energy pattern, and that could definitely disrupt the sleep. So obviously babies and then kids and preteens, they need more sleep as they go on, but for us as adults, anywhere from, I always recommend 7 to 9. I know that's a lot, but That would be ideal. And this is good, consistent sleep all through the night. All right. So some good practices to get into, like I said, turning off your phone or just putting your phone away. No TV, nothing that's going to keep your mind going. Meditation if you have a lot of stuff going on in your mind. Just keeping the room temperature a little cool so you're not really hot at night. That's going to keep you up. And also laying down, and it should take you about 15 minutes to get into sleep. So you're not just going to like go into your bed and just completely pass out, because that's also a different thing too. If you're just like passed out, that's not great either. So you want to go into your bed and start to unwind, and within 15 minutes you should be able to fall asleep.
I mean, I get this out sometimes. Mostly all the time.
Nutrition 101, you are what you digest, not what you are eat. So if we're taking in good quality food, we want to be able to sit down and digest that. If we're not digesting it, then it doesn't really make too much sense as to what we're putting in, right? So we'll start with awareness first. What I like to do with my clients is create an awareness piece based on food logs. So what time you ate it, how much of it you ate it, how you felt after you ate it, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours after you ate it, a little smiley face, a little sad face, number 1 to 10, something easy. How much water they took in, how was their mood, how was their sleep patterns based on that. So it's obviously a lot. Sometimes it's not realistic, but sometimes, you know, they'll do pen and paper. There's a lot of good apps. I like to personally use MyFitnessPal. It will show you breakdowns of macronutrients and calories. And if not, then just taking a picture on your phone. It's not the most ideal way, but sometimes they'll take a picture on their phone and then just send it to me. But just doing that, if you guys ever have kept a food log or a food diary, you just be a lot more aware of what you're eating. And like even like those small snacks, like you start to like second guess and start to think yourself.
Or
right?
the opposite, you'll realize what you're not eating.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you might not be eating enough. You know?
Which is very common as well
common.
within
Extremely common.
my experiences working with people. Also, a kind of weird thing. I know we were out the other day, Kat, with a bunch of us eating breakfast. And I asked everybody like, what's your pooping schedule like? And the guys are like, oh, on it, and the ladies are kind of like sketched out about it. But poop is a good example of how your digestion is working. So, you know, you want to ideally poop at least once a day, 1 to 3 times a day. My poop schedule is very consistent. I know exactly when I'm going to poop during the day. Right? It's like boom right away, and and it's crazy, but I'm very structured and routine.
Multiple times a day, there's something wrong with your digestion. There just is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are in with the range of when you go to the bathroom every single day, that's a sign to show you that your body's working functionally, it's healthy, you know. It's an awkward conversation, but it's one of the first things I ask people too. When I sit with them, I ask them, what are your stools like? I don't say poop, you know. I'm like, how are your bowels, you know? And a lot of people get really uncomfortable to answer that question, but that answer right there helps me determine the start point of like how to help people, you know. So don't be embarrassed by your bowels. It's a natural thing. I grew up with boys, I'm just used to it, but
yeah. And if you want to go a step further, you can even like look back at it without flushing and just kind of look at it, right? Look at your stool, and based on what we're doing here, like digesting and chewing, you'll find a difference in your stool. And what I found with most time with coaches, personal trainers, and first responders, you know, nurses and firefighters, that our digestion is just awful because we're shoveling down 500, 800,000 calorie meals, you know, within like 5 to 10 minutes, and it's just not getting digested or enough as it should be. So just kind of be aware about your stool. Right? You can also like take some corn in, some canned corn, and see how long it takes to digest. You will have to look at your poop, your poop.
Corn today, corn tomorrow.
Yeah, and that'll give you a direct reflection of how your digestive system is working. Kind of like a weird subject to talk about, but it's a good digestion measure. So food quality, you'll see a lot of this within Food Inc. and Fed Up. So not only the practices against like animal cruelty and the way these businesses are running with profit and money this, but just based on the nutrients and how your body is absorbing them. I've seen a lot of good results based on just switching over food quality. So even if the client is eating a crappy diet and they just switch over to better quality foods, that they start losing weight and they have more energy and they feel a lot better. So just based on that quality. All right? And a good example of that is, not a good example, but kind of pertaining to this is the McDonald's diet that I read about the other week. And this guy lost like 20, 30 pounds on McDonald's. So his diet basically consists of McDonald's. He eats it all the time, but he lost weight in McDonald's. So if we were to prescribe, or if I were to prescribe, or one of us would prescribe a meal where, you know, chicken, sweet potatoes and broccoli for lunch and eggs and bacon or whatever, avocados in the morning, like it's just not gonna work. I'm not gonna waste my time, he's gonna waste his time. But what was realistic for him is making small changes within McDonald's and making better food choices. So instead of a large fry, small fry, instead of a double cheeseburger. Yes, it's not a good diet, but within making those small changes, he lost weight on that. And not that it's good quality food, but just be aware of the differences between, you know, stuff you buy at like ShopRite, Stop and Shop, and stuff you buy at Double L or Whole Foods, or, you know, just whatever you can, get organic, grass-fed, eggs, chicken, beef, all that. Last one I want to talk about is food hygiene. So you see a picture here of the family, they're all happy, everybody's chewing, they're relaxing, and they're digesting, so everything is all good. So what we want to do is get into the practice of sitting and eating slowly cooked, warm food. So that's kind of like a foreign thing nowadays, right? So most of us stand, or we're in the car, we're just kind of shoveling food down our mouths, and we're just like not thinking about what's going on. But if we can sit and chew your food, then you're going to digest that food better, and you're going to feel better, and the money that you're spending on good quality food, you're actually going to use it and not just like flush it right out of your digestive system. So within food hygiene practices, I tell clients to chew 42 times each bite. So there is no science behind that. It just creates awareness of chewing more. So the more you can chew and the saliva breaks that down, then the better off you'll be digesting that food. All right? Because what most of us do is just kind of throw food in your mouth, throw some water in, swallow it down, throw some more food, some water, swallow it down. I know I used to do that. I went from the world's fastest eater to the world's slowest eater. And I see that when I go out to eat with people, I'm always the last one done. And I actually time myself for 20 minutes. So if you guys ever ate a meal, your next meal, let's say lunch today, try to eat that meal in 20 minutes. And realize how long it takes you. You take 10 raisins and try to eat those 10 raisins in 10 minutes. It really forces you to slow down and digest your food. Right? And another practice with that is not drinking any water 20 minutes before your meal, not drinking any water with your meal, and not drinking any water 20 minutes after your meal. Once again, there's no scientific evidence behind that, but it forces you to use the saliva to force that, to bring that food down your throat, as opposed to just washing it down with water. Diabetics are recommended to chew their food 100 times to break down the sugars before they bring it down the throat. And also one last thing with the food hygiene, I say talk with your mouth open. I know my mom would kill me for that, and I know Donna would kill me for that as well. And basically what that is talking with your mouth open, is that if we're all sitting down and chewing within the 20 minutes, if you're taking your 42 chews, it's just not going to leave any time to talk, right? So we want to be in a nice, good, reduced stress environment, and then have good conversation. Everybody's laughing, everybody's having a good time. So don't go into food stressed out. And what I used to do is write workouts or watch TV or do something else while I was eating food. So now when I eat food, I just sit down and that's the only thing I'm doing. I'm just eating food for that 20 minutes. And like this is like, you know, just awareness piece. And I'm not telling you guys to do it. I'm just telling you guys that you're going to digest a lot better and based on your digestion, you're going to see a lot better changes in energy, mood, weight loss, performance, whatever it is. So like once again, these are the basics, and these are a lot of things that people aren't doing. And once you hammer down these basics, then we can talk about protein, carbs, and fats, right? But we will talk about protein, carbs, and fats, assuming that you guys all got stuff. Okay.
All right, guys. So the best way to tackle nutrition, because out there in the market, there's just so much, it's flooded, you don't know what to believe, what not to believe. My belief behind this all is that nutrition is a basic and it's a simple science. It's all about how you learn it and how you know it, right? So in order to learn nutrition, you have to start with the basics and then you build up from there, okay? So what I wanted to start with here is, what are nutrients and why are they important? Okay, so when a lot of people, when you say nutrients to people, if I were to say to you, like, what is your definition of a nutrient, I can tell you that I will get 500 different answers, okay? But there's really only one answer to what an actual nutrient is, all right? So I don't necessarily want to read off the slide, but I'm going to read what a good definition of what a nutrient is, okay? So nutrients are components found in foods that an organism uses to survive and grow, so meaning us, we are organisms, right? Macronutrients provide the bulk energy as organisms' metabolic systems need to function, while nutrients provide the necessary cofactors for metabolism to be carried out. That might sound a little scientific for you guys, but bottom line, all we need to survive on a day-to-day is based upon our macronutrients and our micronutrients, okay? So our proteins, carbs, fats, and our minerals, vitamins, and water. That's all you need to survive on your day-to-day. Does anybody have any questions on what a nutrient is? Nope? Cool. All right. So there's 6 main groups. I kind of just tackled, I got ahead of myself, but there's 6 main groups of essential nutrients. Okay, so you have your carbohydrates, you have your fats, your proteins, your vitamins, your minerals, and your water. Okay, so again, this is all we need on a day-to-day to survive, to function properly, to survive. Okay, so I'm going to break down for you each macronutrient and what they mean. Okay, so your carbohydrates, so your carbs are foods that are used for provide quick energy. Okay, they are one of the main sources of energy. Fat is your other main source of energy. Okay, that we need to fuel our body. So it's recommended as a standard that your daily intake should be about 40% carbohydrates every single day. Okay, based on your diet, broken down with these 3. So you want to eat natural whole grains and stay away from any sort of processed or like white breads. So anything that's packaged or processed, I'm just going to be blunt, just don't eat it, right? There's no nutritional value in that, and here we're tackling nutrition-dense foods, okay? Some good sources would include some semolina flour pasta. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that type of flour, but it's a really good source of grain that they round up and they turn into pasta. Whole Foods has it. It's delicious. You can't really taste the difference between the two, but if you're going to tackle pasta, that's the type of pasta that I would want you guys to eat, okay? Beans, rice, potatoes, all potatoes, red, sweet, white, doesn't matter. Potatoes. Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ezekiel, but it's actually a great product. It's all sprouted grains that they've turned into a bread. And they also dry it out and they chop it up and they turn it into a granola. I love it. I eat it every day. It's a great source of complex carbohydrates. Yuca is a Latin America root. It's like their version of our version of a white potato. Yuca is another really good source there. Quinoa and oats, raw oats. So for our protein, protein helps build and repair muscle. It also provides slow, sustained energy. So your diet should consist of about 30% protein. Again, these percentages are based on your standards and based on your goals and what you're trying to achieve. That's where you we tweak up and down, okay? So good sources of protein is your meats, your chicken, your turkey, your pork, your beef. But again, going back to your quality of food is very important. The definition, you are what you eat. There's a lot of truth behind that. Eggs, fish, any fish, doesn't matter what kind of fish. Fish is very good for you in so many ways. beans, nuts, seeds, peanut butter, Greek yogurt. And then lastly, we have our fat. So fat is extremely essential because it's your second source of energy that we need for our day-to-day. So your fat intakes should be consisted of healthy fats, meaning unsaturated. Okay, so here your percentage here is also 30%, but again, it will buffer based upon your needs. So good sources of healthy fats are olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, nuts, seeds, peanut butter, and fatty fish.
Yeah. This is a general layout, so like this is going to apply differently based on your individual needs, your food intolerances, your goals, genetics, everything, right? So it's kind of like the downfall with diet that if we did this, all of us, that half of us would get results, half of us maybe not get results or do worse, depending on where you are now. So the third thing about macronutrients in the sense of proteins are for building and repairing muscles in cells within our bodies and organs. Fat is our main source of energy, and carbohydrates depends on your activity levels, right? So if you have someone who doesn't really work out a lot, who does a lot of high intensity workout, there's no point to really put them on 200, 300 grams of carbs. So carbohydrates depends on your body fat. So the lower your body fat is, the more carbs you can handle. The higher body fat is, the less carbs you can handle. So this is more based on your activity levels. So start thinking based on that.
So again, like I was saying before, you want to start with the basics, and then from there you tweak what is good for you. Yeah, but to add on, so fat, a lot of people have a complex with fat. When they view fat, they think that they're going to get fat, right? But fats will not make you fat. They'll actually make you lose fat, right? So I don't want... Amen. Right? So fats are good, they're not bad,
So when I prescribe nutrition to clients, I go based off of somatotypes, which is basically ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph, where endomorph is more of a larger person. Ectomorph is kind of like the long, skinny, you think like it's a good like endurance runner. And the mesomorph is kind of somebody like a bodybuilder, like good build, broad shoulders, narrow waist. And then based on that, the endomorph would have actually more fat and less carbs and moderate protein. The mesomorph would follow something like this, 40, 40, 30. And then the person who's taller and skinnier would have more carbohydrates, so high carbs, medium proteins, and low fats. And you actually see more in the FDA that guideline, that the general guidelines, like high carbs, medium proteins, low fats, is kind of the general recommendation for Americans as a whole, but that only works for a certain amount of people. And you see with endurance and long distance runners or performance with sport that their carbohydrates are high. That's why it's common for people that are endurance runners, 5Ks, whatever. Thinking more like half marathons, marathon runners, triathlons, Ironman, shoving down like pasta and like having these big carbohydrate meals so they have the energy to perform the next day. So a lot of people think of carbohydrates as an energy source, but when you take in a ton of carbs, do you really feel like you have a lot of energy after that, or do you feel like you want to take a nap on the couch? Just kind of think about it like that.
Well, it also depends on the type of carbs you're eating too. But carbohydrates are meant to give you quick energy, right? So there's all that talk out there about people that do carb loading, or carb cycling or whatever that may be. Personally, unless you're like a professional athlete to some crazy capacity, I think that's when like carb cycling, carb loading comes into play. When you're like a football player or whatever it may be, then yes. But for us on our day-to-day, just coming in, getting 60 minutes of like our workouts, those things are not necessary. They're just, personally, that's my beliefs, They're just really not necessary. You just need to start with your basics, and then based upon what you're trying to do, whether you're trying to gain muscle mass, lose weight, whatever it is that you're trying to do, that's where you tweak those things. But, to start, carbohydrates are very important for a lot of reasons. They're important for, energy, yes. They're important to break down fats in your body. Again, today we're just starting with the basics, so I don't want to like flood you guys with too much information so you walk out of here, again, confused, like something you just read online. You're like, oh my God, wait, what just happened, right? I don't want to flood you with too much. I just want you guys to understand the basics, okay? If you have any questions later on or during, just cut me off, stop me, and then we'll get into it. But for now, basics.
Yeah, definitely the basics. But it is kind of good to throw some insight here and there And like I said, if you guys have any questions or comments, just feel to chime in anytime. So definitely like a healthy longevity, performance-based approach, which I'll get into a little bit, but sometimes white rice, white pasta, white bread, those things that have high nutrient turnover can be good based on your goals and your activity levels. So, but right now, just very basic, we're thinking right now, okay, I want to live to be 105 years old, and I want to feel awesome, and I want to have good energy throughout the day. So like these are good things that you want a good blood sugar management throughout the day and follow good energy rhythms. But there is a little bit difference. We'll get into at the end of the seminar.
All right, guys. So moving on to our micronutrients. So our micronutrients are your minerals, your vitamins, and your water. So minerals meaning like your calcium, your potassium, magnesium, your iron, right? So you can find micronutrients in all fruits and all vegetables. You have your vitamins. Your vitamins are important for immunity and normal metabolism, development, growth, and cell function. It's amazing how important vitamins are in your day-to-day and how your body functions. Like you need vitamin B to carry